Today, it's time to talk about Saladin, because we've done some live stream testing about him and checking out the hero for the first time, and I thought, why not just do my first initial reaction, my results, and kind of my thoughts on this hero, because to be honest, everyone wants to know how good is Saladin. Is he going to be a hero worth investing in on Age of Empires Mobile, which is a fair question, right? So smash like, comment, and subscribe for more daily videos with me, MrSneakyy, the one and only. And we're going to explain the way we did the tests, right? Because the first thing is, if you didn't know, Saladin is a martial, cavalry, and archer. So if you want to get the full bonus, you're going to try and run him in martial configurations, right? And let's be real, there's not many good martial heroes in the game currently, right? That's kind of the gist of Saladin. However, you can still check out how good this guy is, because he is the one martial hero that is all about rage recovery. And if you don't know what we're talking about, his main signature skill, level 40 maxed out, will grant you 2 rage per second, which is really nice. And when your commander uses a signature active or secondary strike skill, you recover 35 more rage. This effect triggers up to once every 3 seconds, and when triggered, increases your main commander, in that front line's damage output by 30% for 6 seconds. So to be honest, this hero is designed really well as a support. It's just going to generate you as much rage as possible, as well as obviously boosting that commander damage. So when the commander hits his rage cost on the commander skill, they're going to deal a bunch of damage, right? So you're probably wondering what build to run, or what builds did we run on Saladin. So the first thing that I went as a default was War of Victory, and for the second skill was Fervor. And I'm not going to lie, I am not going back on this. This was so goddamn good. It was ridiculous, right? Because the thing is, Saladin isn't really going to be doing too much damage. I'm going to be honest. His job is to generate rage. So stuff like the weak spot attack just doesn't really fit well on him. It just, from my personal opinion, maybe if you feel like he's, lacking in a little bit of damage, you could go for it. But the hero doesn't want to do damage. He wants to generate rage. And the main question a lot of people then go and ask is, okay, if we run Roar of Victory, which is increasing, obviously, our good old rage here by 30, which is really nice, what purple skill do you run? Because the thing is, each purple skill on our good old friend here also generates rage. And when you get this maxed out level 40 effects, you can see this is increasing your rage by 20 when you obviously hit this 25% activation chance. But then when you look at Fervor, this is also increasing your rage by 3.5 per second at 100% activation chance for the first 18 seconds in battle. And you even increase your might, armor, and strategy on those heroes that you've got by 15, which is kind of cool. It's really cool. It's a nice way of actually boosting the entire march with a purple skill, right? So the main question was, which is better, right? So the first kind of test that I'm going to showcase you is going to be the report from them, right? And we've been saving these reports, so I'm going to pull it all the way down. And I want to shout out Stain as well. He is, I think, a Turkish YouTuber for Age of Empires Mobile, so check him out. And he helped me do this, right? So we did Cavalry here, and the first match that a lot of people wanted to try out, which is going to catch all of you off guard, is this one. It is going to be Hannibal, Ashoka, and Saladin. And the reason why they like this and why we tested this combo just as a first time test was because obviously with Hannibal, you're going to be able to trigger his main commander skill here all the time. It's a 200 rage cost, and the fact that to the current target you increase the hero's might, armor, and strategy by the amount the target commander's attributes reduced respectively for 6 seconds, right? You swing all those attributes in your favor. It allows you to machine gun that off. It's always going to be up. So what we're going to see right now, I'll just put it on screen, is going to be the gameplay footage of this match. And yes, we went against Lubu here in the first one, but you'll see we did more and more tests with it. And what's really impressive is Saladin's rage. Honestly, the amount of rage this one hero can provide to a match is unmatched. It's unmatched, guys. It's absolutely crazy, right? So what we're going to do now, bring it back off the footage here. Let's showcase some of the reasoning in the first report, and then we'll go into some of the other reports, right? So the first one, if we go into the comparison on just to get a kind of baseline, you can see we are running further on Saladin, and for our Hannibal lineup, we were running Tactical Pursuit, Weak Spot Attack. We had Raw Victory, Weak Spot Attack on our Ashoka. So we had double Raw of Victory, which was really nice for this match, just to give it even more rage than needed. And then obviously we've gone against the main match, the Lubu one, all the good old Ripper Tiger build that most people know of, right, with Guan Yu. If we go into the details now, you're going to see no matter what, because of further in this fight, it did last 20 seconds in combat, so we did get the full 18 triggers of our great skill here. And obviously damage wise, we're only doing 1.7k. It's nothing. It's really nothing. Even with Ashoka there, really doing minimal damage. It's all coming out of your Hannibal. Hannibal is the one doing all the work here, right? And it's really impressive to see, though, how good it did on a base level, right? If we look at the total damage, only 50.7k on the Hannibal to the 80k, which you can expect on those Lubus, right? But 2.6 to 2.6, we're literally pulling in the same amount of damage. And you got to remember, guys, because we're running 2 tactical cavalry, we are losing that formation attribute bonus of extra 30% stats, right? Because we're running a marshal, which doesn't give you the full max pairing, if you want to say, set up for your formation, right? So it's really interesting to see how well it performed against, as you can see, 1.8 to 1. Not too bad, honestly, it's not too bad. And then we swung it around. And this is when things started to, honestly, catch us all off guard, because you can see we've got a victory here. This is when the first time Hannibal Ashoka Saladin goes against Lubu and beats it. And you're probably wondering, what is the difference here? Because honestly, all it were chance. It was honestly the chance on hitting that skill and just keep rolling through to beat them. So it was quite scary to see Saladin here putting in the work, and obviously gameplay will come up now for you guys, just doing some crazy, absolute crazy rage generation. And what you always notice with a Saladin is you're always gonna get to your second rage cycle way faster than whoever isn't running a Saladin, and you are gonna overtake the amount of battle, basically signature commander skills that you're going to be running over time. And you're going to see this more and more in today's video, especially when we showcase some more of the Saladin tests that we've done, which weren't obviously just cavalry here, right? Or with these cavalry. So if we come in back into the comparison now, let's see what was the difference. Because if we go into the details, you can see we've got 1 activation here on the main AoE skill, but now we've got 2 activations on the Hannibal, 12.6k damage. We've got 6 activations, 47.5k on Hannibal. He were cooking that game, right? We've got 4.4, 4.1 to 6.2 over here. And then again, only 4.7 on our great Saladin. So when you're going into the stats again and looking at the total breakdown, our Saladin was putting in some more damage than the crit, right? Than our Attila. However, he isn't providing a critical chance that allows Lubu to go crazy. But what we can see here easily, just from looking at it, we can arguably say that you just weren't lucky, right? With the Lubu, you weren't lucky in getting the crits to stack up quickly enough, so then when it comes to Lubu's turn, you hit the big damage and overtake. But it honestly, I think, puts credit on Saladin, how fast Saladin is getting this Hannibal to get those skills and just keep going, because as you can imagine, he's going already into the 3rd cycle, while our Lubu is still charging up his 2nd, which was kind of crazy if you ask me. So moving into the next one, you can see victory again here. We've got our Hannibal Ashoka Saladin, like I said, nothing different here, against a good old Hannibal Justinian Ashoka. Is it better to run Saladin or Justinian, and this caught everyone off guard because, as you'll see, even in the next one, we won again. If we go into the next one afterwards, we won again, which was crazy, right? We were winning against Hannibal, Justinian, Shocker with Saladin, and the main culprit for that, you probably guessed it if you've not guessed it so far, as the main theme of this was, again, look at how many activations we got compared to Stain. Saladin basically doubles your activation rate on your raid skill compared to your enemy. And even in the mirror match, when Hannibal, Justinian, and a Shocker is going against your Saladin, a Shocker, a Hannibal match, it's losing out. 7 activations is crippling. The amount of times that you're going to just keep stealing those stats and keep it in your favor over time, you're just going to win. And yes, this fight took a long ass time, 1 minute in fact, but as you can see right now, there is the speeded up version. You can see how crazy this was, especially when we're doing this all live. So if you want to watch any of these, you know, testing that we've done, there will be a link in the description down below, guys. It will showcase the entire stream where we did all the Saladin testing, and we did some extra testing afterwards too on our day 1 stream. So keep an eye out on it. Enjoy watching all of that, because it is a really fun stream too. So really crazy, right? Seeing this, and you're probably wondering, is that the only one, right? No, guys. If we go back and check out any of these other reports, hit the comparison, going into those stats again, 94k to 65.k. When you hit the details, it's not close. 7 to 3 again, and this is the massive deciding factor for every one of these fights so far. Coming back down again, let's go, actually not down, let's go up to, I think it's this one that we've missed out, but every one, you'll notice, guys, literally every single one of these stats, all the details, it's always double, which is crazy. 20.1k damage from his main raid skill coming out all the time, right? So now we did some more tests, right? We had to test some more. We can't just obviously allow it just to stand where it was. So we carried on, and you can see here though, we did start losing, and we did start losing. Look at that, 1.7 to 1. If we look here now, 1 to 1. So it was super close onto this one when we came in. Moving up again, we got 1.2 to 1. Kind of crazy. Going into the next one, and you can kind of see now why the theme of the video is where it is, because Saladin is crazy. It seems crazy in the lineups, but if you've been keeping track now, if you're very, very smart, look, because I'm keeping everything the same, right? We were just showcasing these matchups. Why are we losing? Why are we losing? Well, if we go into these defeats, you can start to see something a little bit different, right? Because we got our fervor and we started to lose, right? So we thought at some point, why not try enrage stack, right? Because obviously it's only going to be fair if you can check both of these different skills. So you could see in those 5 runs prior, we lost 2 and we did win 3, right? I'm not saying that's enough data at all. It's just our first kind of showcase of what Saladin could do within the time we had, obviously, to test so far on the live streams. So it was interesting, let's just say, and I think a lot of people were very surprised to see that. But now this is when things got really, really definitive. If you guys are wondering what build to run, because as you see now, we ran the exact same, you know, whole setup. The only thing we changed was our enraged strike. And when you look at the enraged strike damage, you get 5 activations, and that's going to be 607 extra damage, right? Which just isn't good enough, right? It really isn't. Yes, we're getting 4.46 rage at the moment, and we got that, what, 6 times, if I remember that, 5 times. So we basically got 20 rage there. Yeah, that's kind of cool, but if you already remember, we've already been gaining 18 seconds of fervor every time we've been in combat, meaning we're already generating more passive rage with Fervor than we are with Enraged Strike. So that does kind of start to beg the question, was the damage worth the trade-off of having the less rage actual engine on your account? And the answer was obviously no, it's not. You might as well not run Enraged Strike, because anytime you are, you're not really getting this up to 7 potentially on these activations. And then the damage is only 1.1k. Why do that? You've seen us pull out 4,000 damage numbers and higher just from the Roar of Victory. Yeah, this is kind of cool. It's nice. We got 1.1k damage, but it's not enough to justify the loss of rage that our match actually has, because that rage really does suffer because of how much impact Hannibal's commander skill has, especially in this 1v1 setup, right? So then if we pull it back and keep going, like we're not done there. I want to really emphasize this, how bad it is to run Enraged Strike on Saladin. Here's another 6. We got 4 triggers this time, 869 damage for it, right? So it was kind of, you know, upsetting, right? And this is the final one, just to put nail in the coffin, by the way, just to showcase it, right? So we switched back then to Fervor to see, okay, we've got Fervor. Is this going to improve anything on the match? So then we was like, okay, it seems like Fervor is generating more rage, meaning you're going to have potentially better chances in a 1v1 scenario in open field to actually win, right? That's the only thing we've kind of seen with the rage skill. So then we start to get asked, obviously, with our Saladin, what about with our good old archers? And this kind of caught us all off guard, because obviously, as you guys know, he still is gonna gain all the buffs in the march, apart from having 2 warriors. It's the exact same scenario as we just said with Hannibal. We're only sacrificing in the formation. If you guys don't know what we're talking about when you go into these formations, down here, this 180% number, you can see if we look at any of these and we put in just someone who's not suited, so example, Hannibal, we've got 130% and we've got triple on the bonus, because this is classed as a matchless march. So we've got all the bonuses apart from the attack, obviously, because it doesn't match up with the other 2, which is fair enough, right? So that's interesting, because we're losing stats for going down this really greedy route for rage. And as you'll notice when we get into these favorites now, it caught us all off guard, because obviously our Saladin here started to actually generate rage for our Mulan. And you're probably wondering, how good was it? We'll put the footage on the screen for you, right? So you can see this fight cooking right now in live gameplay. Again, you can check all this out on the live stream. I've obviously made this video just for today so you guys can enjoy it while we get ready to do some more live stream testing later on. But when we go into it, right, you can see with this match, it's pretty good, because obviously Mulan's march deals 4 rapid fire instances of might damage to a single target. It's a 250 rage cost, so this is kind of perfect for the rage, and it just keeps going. You're basically nuking someone down on a pure glass cannon single target basis. So when we go into the comparison here, you're going to be surprised, right? Because when we go into the details for the first one, again, look at that, 17.9k damage, all from that first skill there, compared to the 1 activation of 6,000 on Mulan. And that is again because this further triggering 18 times in that combat. You're guaranteeing it, it's almost, it seems, every time we're in there, which is kind of cracked, right? So when you go into the stats, you can see the clear difference on how much damage there is. Even the Attila isn't even coming close to what our Saladin is putting in for just damage per turn, just an extra bit of damage, which you didn't really expect him to do as a rage generator. But obviously we didn't believe it, and I will tell you guys, as you can see already in the mails above, it didn't win again, right? So this time we have a piece of gear on, which did obviously change a lot, right? And we kind of wanted to, I wanted to include this, even though Stan, you know, said not to. I'm including this. Why? Because I kind of wanted to emphasize, look at this, right? We've only got one piece of gear on our units here. This is 19.5% extra archer defense from all the bonuses and whatever is on his gems there, right? And you can see already, look at that, 2.8 to 1 difference with one piece of gear maxed out, got the right gems on. So I really wanted to just add this in, and we're not going to look at this report because obviously it doesn't make sense to look at it because it's just not the same as the other one. However, gear makes a massive difference. If you've not known this, if you need a rude awakening, that's going to be the rude awakening, right? So now we did the test again, and you can see it's a lot closer, right? We still lost this time, so even though between we won here and we lost in this one, when you go into the comparison again, even still running further, everything's going to be the same. We did 3 activations there, but this time we did 12.4k compared to Stain's 1 activation with all the crit lining up perfectly, dealing over 9.5k damage, which was absurd. The 6 activations as well, 33.4k to our 4, 16.4. Obviously, this is a little bit more rolling of the dice, but it kind of is just scary to see how much the crit really can win you in this, right? And then the last one, right? The last one, just to kind of add in, we did put in Mehmed, which sounds a bit crazy, I know, but we wanted to see how good Mehmed, Saladin, and our Mulan was. We just ran a 1 tester just to, you know, curiosity kills the cat, as you guys will know, right? We want to check this out. We lost, but it's 1.1. Obviously, we might need to do more tests on this match because this one looked very, very scary. We both ran in this one setup, Radiant Guardian, because we said, well, if we're going to be running this setup, you're going to need Radiant Guardian to work. To make it fair, we'll have both matches with Radiant Guardians. It's almost like mid-maxing, you know, you have no gear on, but you've got 1 ring on, so everything's still the same. And when we go into the stats, 77k damage here to 84.2, detailing wise 3 to 2 activations. So you can see here the crit from that Attila really does put in the work. It really does honestly transform this Mulan in the match. So it does beg to question, what if we ran Mulan, Saladin, and Attila in one lineup? And we might have to do that in the next live streams and stuff in the future. So a lot of you guys have been wondering, is Saladin good? And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm gonna say yeah. I think Saladin is actually a really good hero, right? A really, really good hero. The issue with Saladin, and this is the harsh reality with the hero currently in game, there's just not good martial cavs to run with him. And you're gonna understand why, right? Because when you look at the martial cavalry route, the only commander, I'm going to be honest, that looked quite interesting, and we did do a quick test of Bulbarito with it, was YSG. And you're probably wondering, why am I saying YSG? Because his rage skill is super low cost again, 250, just like our Mulan. It's an AoE front fan, so we get to hit 2 enemies now for 430%, which is really crazy when you think about it. But for the first time, we are also randomly reducing the skill damage of 2 enemy troops. So the way I'm looking at this match was, if you run like YSG, maybe Saladin, and Seong the Great, it allowed you to basically churn out this debuff while doing technically some AoE. Because if we look at the good old El Cid Arena, which a lot of people want to run with Saladin, it's going to be okay just because you're going to get to the Anthem of the Night as fast as possible, allowing your El Cid to obviously reduce all damage from the target to the hero, as well as obviously slowing down the target, which does give Patriotism that double instance of damage because they're slowed down, right? So that's why it's going to work okay for Cid. But it's just not what you want to do. I'm going to be honest. It feels like you really need something where the signature commander skill for that, you know, hero, that rage commander skill, is really game changing. It either does some absolute absurd damage, or it's doing some really good area of effect damage with a good utility skill, reducing enemy skill damage, reducing their rage, reducing their overall damage, reducing defense. As you can see where I'm going, some sort of utility is what you need with Saladin. And at the moment in the game, you just don't have that. So the thing is, Saladin could be, and I'm going to honestly say this, as you guys know in the video, I think he's going to be a safe option. It sounds crazy, I know. I think he is going to be a safe option because his rage recovery is unmatched. It is crazy how much you can do with him. And already seen some weird promising results putting Saladin in matches like the Hannibal one, like even the Mulan one, right? Matches that aren't actual martial matches is very, very interesting. The next one we're going to do on live is going to be some Lubu stuff. So we're going to run Lubu with a Saladin and see, is it just worth it just to AoE as much as possible? Because that could be absolutely crazy in itself, right? So hopefully you've enjoyed today's video. It's been a nice one. It's kind of been one of those ones where we've talked about and showcased a bit of the test we've done on Saladin, as well as giving you my opinion from it all, because obviously we've slept on it. We've been able to kind of assess what we've done so far with him. And if you want to see more Saladin testing, let me know on the live streams when we go live through the Pioneer test server, right? So that's going to be today's video. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed it. We'll play the Saladin intro when you summon him on your account as we leave. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Smash like, comment, and subscribe. And until the next one, guys, stay safe, stay sneaky. Peace out, guys.